So, how important would you say a jump scare is in a horror or thriller film? Would you say it makes a film, or would you say it kind of can take away from it?
Interesting question, but I wouldn't say it makes a film, because then you're sort of looking at the territories. I'm sure you guys have seen all these sort of YouTube videos. There's a very famous one where it's just like an advert for a car that's going through like a country lane, and then there's this big jump scare at the end. And right, although it sort of gives you that sort of thrill momentarily, I don't really think that's what horror films should be about. Like, the more, to an extent, it's actually lazy of people who make horror films just to rely on jump scares. You know, I think it's more of a challenge to make a film almost like sort of slowly chipping away at you, making you feel uneasy,
Tension.
rather than just bang, you know, here it is, it lasted a split second, and then it's over.
Fair enough. Do you find that often, if a movie's got sort of a villain who's a human, it kind of takes away from the actual thrill of it? So if in a film the actual bad guy is human, it's like a murder or something like that,
Right.
opposed to a supernatural.
Well, again, it depends on the type of horror film. There's so many different subgenres. I mean, one of the most successful horror films of all time is, you know, Halloween, which was, you know, a guy who escaped the mental asylum and, you know, went out on a killing spree. Having said that, another one of the most successful horror films of all time is the Blair Witch Project, where you don't even see what it is you're meant to be scared of. So again, depends on the type of film. I mean, films like Silence of the Lambs or Psycho or Texas Chainsaw, you know, these are classics, and they've all, you know, got the same thing. Well, they've actually got a couple of things in common. Firstly, that they're both, or all three, are based on the same historical serial killer, Ed Gein, if you want to do your homework. And secondly, you know, they're all, you know, the monsters, as it were, are all human. Again, it depends on the type of film, the kind of audience it wants to attract. Again, you know, when someone, you know, I mean, this is something I'm writing about at the moment. You know, I'm actually writing a thesis on monsters in horror films, which includes both human and non-human. It depends on the film, really, and what you want to achieve and which audience you want to bring in. Yeah.
Have you ever seen a successful short film which has been in the horror genre?
I've seen many.
Is it harder, would you say, to make it fit into a smaller timescale? To build that sort of tension and relationship?
Again, it depends on what you want to achieve as a filmmaker, because I also run a horror website, and I keep getting sent you know, sort of all types of films, feature films, like 2-hour-long films, 5-minute shorts. They're different types of movies. Yes, they both belong in the horror genre in terms of theme, but obviously a film that's 5 minutes long is going to have different things it wants to achieve from a film that's 2 hours long. The majority of the ones I've seen today, you know, or recently, sort of the short films, are some of these sort of jump scare types that we were talking about a moment ago. I wouldn't say that they're a direct comparison, though. You know, it's like trying to, you know, it's like trying to compare I'm trying to think of a good example now. You know, a book with a comic.
Yeah.
You know, yes, they're both print media, but they're two different types of print media.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.